Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and we're back for another episode of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. We are set to go for Week 12. Week 12, we're getting closer and closer to playoffs. We're like 6 weeks out before the end of the season, and before you know it, we'll be in playoff run, all that good stuff. But we got a lot to get into. Thanksgiving is next week, which we'll have episode 150 here, One-on-One. So a milestone for us. Very excited about that. But we got a lot to get into. Outside looking in, the bottom, top 10, the finale. We'll get into all that right now here on One-on-One, the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television. Let's go.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to One-on-One at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
We are here, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 149 of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. We're closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, which I don't like. We talk about that. Hate that it starts to rush through. It's been a very busy NFL season for me, and it doesn't stop this week. Cowboys, Commanders from Washington. It may not be as sexy on paper because of the way the Cowboys have played this season, but it still means a lot to Washington and their fans. They definitely need this win after this 2-game losing streak, but we'll also get into that a little bit later as well. But with all that being said, we've got a lot to get into. The outside looking in, the bottom, the top 10, the finale, the Kings of the Gridiron this week. We got a 2-time winner for this year and a 2-time overall winner this week in our Kings of the Gridiron. But we'll go ahead and get started. And also tonight we've got Steelers and Browns from Cleveland, so that'll be a fun one. Browns are struggling, but right now Pittsburgh is looking like a masterpiece. So we'll see if they can continue to keep their winning ways going under the tutelage of Russell Wilson, who is yet to lose as the starter there in Pittsburgh. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go to the bottom. All right, so this week's bottom, let's start with the very bottom, and that would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Y'all, it ain't a lot to say about this other than Jacksonville is bad. It's surprisingly bad. This bad I did not expect. I thought they would be a little bit more competitive this year, and they have been competitive at times in games, but it was not the case this week. Past week, oh man, like Detroit said, nah, we don't like y'all. And this is how we're going to treat y'all. And Detroit just destroyed the Mac Jones-led Jacksonville Jaguars 52-6. 52-6. How dangerous is the Detroit team? You know what I'm saying? How dangerous is this Detroit team? Just dangerous. But Jacksonville gets demolished. And right now, they currently have the number 1 pick of the draft, which is interesting. If you're a star quarterback, you're not going to go quarterback in that position if you keep the pick. So, and if they end up getting a pick, so then you got a chance for some trade collateral and, force to the highest bidder because there's some top tier quarterbacks that people are going to be looking for. So you're in a prime position one way or the other if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're at 32, and hopefully they figure that thing out. And poor Doug Peterson, it's just over. It's just over. At 31, the New York Football Giants. Now, the Giants have decided to bench Daniel Jones. Their $45 million quarterback has been moved from the number 1 spot on the depth chart to quarterback 3, QB 3. They moved Locke in front of him, and surprisingly, I thought Locke would be the quarterback that would be the new starter. Nope, not the case. It is Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito. No, I said Danny DeVito, but Tommy DeVito will be the starter once again. And he had some success last year for the Giants. So we'll see if he can kind of continue that magic. And I think the Giants are kind of trying him out to see if, he's maybe a long-term answer. I doubt it. There's too many stars in that draft coming up. But we'll see. The Giants are at 31. And I feel like they probably could have won a couple more games because they've been really competitive this year at times. So it a little bit sucks for them. At 30, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders. They're bad. They're another team that looking for a quarterback when the season is over, and more likely will draft high. And don't be surprised if they're one of the teams that try to steal that number one spot if they don't have it themselves. So we'll see. Vegas, they're terrible, and I feel bad because I really want Antonio Pierce to succeed there, but so far it hasn't looked good. At 29, the Tennessee Titans, another team that is just, boy, oh boy. Titans had a tough one against the Vikings, losing 23-13. It was a competitive game. Levis had a 98-yard touchdown pass to Westbrook Akina, and I think I'm saying his last name wrong, but it was a great pass, great catch, but just wasn't enough. Tennessee is just another one of those teams that's still trying to figure it out, and who knows, maybe they go quarterback under that circumstance. Even with Levis there, maybe they've seen enough and said, no, we're moving on. That could happen. At 28, the Cleveland Browns. This is another team that could be looking for a quarterback. They refuse to say that they're done with Deshaun Watson because all that money is involved. But they're another team that you can't be surprised at if they draft just for the future purposes. And if it doesn't work out with Deshaun, obviously next year, they're trying to, not have too much of that dead cap. But it's been an unsuccessful, story there in Cleveland. Jameis Winston's done the best he could, and it just ain't happening these last 2 weeks. They were in a battle early with the Saints before that got out of hand, and the Saints went in 35-14. But it was at one point it was 14-14. It was a pretty tight contest. Then the Saints pulled away. At 27, the New York Football Jets. Boy, had the game in hand, thought it was theirs. Colts. It was a great game between them and the Colts. It was back and forth. Colts had the lead for a while. Jets came back, took the lead, looking pretty good. Next thing you know, final drive, Colts do what they need to do. They get the dub. Colts get the dub, and the Jets fall to 3-8. And there's chaos going on right now with the Jets. Like, some stuff came out that Woody Johnson, probably the worst owner in sports right now when it comes to just the way it's being ran, or at least in the NFL purposes. But there was a lot of talk about what he had going on and how he was running the franchise. And I'm pretty sure Jets fans are not happy after listening to all the stuff that was said. He wanted to bench Rodgers in week 4, supposedly. It's just a lot. I'm starting to think that we should not expect Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback of the Jets next year, which is interesting because you just trade for Devontae. So does Devontae go by the wayside as well? So many questions with the Jets. And can Devontae just go to a team where he can thrive? Can we get this man a good quarterback, good situation? Let me combo it. And no matter how bad Aaron's playing, he's always going to be a good quarterback per se. But yes, let's just hook it up. Find something for my guy Devontae. Come back home. Come back to Green Bay. But, At 26, the New England Patriots. Patriots have been a really competitive football team this year. They haven't won but a couple games, but they have been in most of these games, and they've battled in most of these games. So they're young. They're still trying to figure it out, and I think they're maybe a year or two away from probably being good again. So we got to watch out for New England. And Drake May's been playing well. Mayo's got those boys playing, they're hustling out there. They're fighting. So kudos to the Patriots. When I thought they would be 1-15, they've been fighting hard. So shout out to them on 1-16. At 25, the Carolina Panthers. They're 3-7. They were on a bye last week, so they kind of stick where they were the week before. But they got the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Good luck to Carolina. At 24, the Dallas Cowboys. They lost on Monday night to the Texans, 34-10. It wasn't pretty at any point. One time they fumbled twice on a play and lost it twice. I don't even know how they did it, but it happened. And so Dallas struggles as they come into Washington this week, with Washington having a chip on their shoulder for a lot of reasons. And, there's a lot into this matchup with Dan Quinn. Being the former Dallas Cowboy defensive coordinator, a lot of those players still love Dan Quinn over there. Of course, Dallas having the situations with their head coaching situation with Mike McCarthy. There's a lot going on this week. A lot of former Dallas players on that Commanders team with, Tyler, we call him Tyler Badass, but Tyler Badass, and I could be saying that wrong as well. But Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler Jr., they've got a couple of former Cowboys on that team, so we'll see. And Joe Witt, he was the defense coordinator there. At 23, the New Orleans Saints, after losing 7 in a row, they won 2 in a row. So they won 2 in a row at the beginning of the season, lost 7 straight, then won 2 in a row again. So they're trying to figure it out a little bit. They're not quite out in that division. They still have a chance to sneak in and win that division because the Falcons don't want it. The Buccaneers are injured and beat up, and they still got a shot. The Saints could do something. Who knows? Saints are at 23. At 22, the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati played really well on Sunday Night Football. I mean, they were down. I think it was like 27-10. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was something in that range. They were down. They came back, tied the game up, and in tying the game up, they had a chance to win it. They couldn't pull it off in the end. The Chargers ended up winning that 134 to 27. But this Bengals team is still good, but it's just not working out this season. Sometimes it just goes that way. Things are not clicking. There may be some moves that need to be made. We'll see. I'm not saying coaching change, but there may be some moves that need to be made. Cincinnati at 22. At 21, the Chicago Bears. Man, Chicago Bears lose a heartbreaker to the Green Bay Packers. Heartbreaker. Everything was set up perfectly. They drive down the field. They're only down by 1. Caleb leads them, puts them in field goal range that should be the game winner, and then blocked. Carl Brooks, Packers, gets the mid up there, knocks it down. Packers win. 11 straight wins for the Packers against the Bears. The Bears haven't beaten the Packers since 2016. Oh, boy, oh, boy. So here it is, the bottom. Jags, Giants, Raiders, Titans, Browns, Jets, Patriots, Panthers, Cowboys, Saints, Bengals, and the Chicago Bears. Well, there's your bottom. There's still a couple teams there that got a shot at the playoffs. I mean, it's still, semi early in the season or midway through the season. So there's things can still change. We'll see if that will happen. But with that being said, let's go ahead and head on to the outside looking in. All right. So the outside looking in. At number 20, the Bucs. They were on bye last week. I really thought the Bucs were going to have a really good year, and they were looking that way at one point. Then the injury started to kick in. So I still have somewhat faith in this team. They might get Mike Evans back here. Could potentially get Mike Evans back this week. But we'll see. We'll see if that ends up happening. Then we've got the Dolphins at 19. They won their 4th game of the season with a 34-19 win over the Raiders. The Dolphins are also a team that are in the mix still. They still could, make the playoffs. It's still, it's not that far of a difference between them and Denver. So they've got some work to do. But if they can get going and they get cooking, they're in good shape. So you got to watch out for the Dolphins. I mean, and then the Dolphins play the Patriots this week, who are, believe me, are going to be competitive in that matchup, but it's a winnable game and can put the Dolphins in position to get back in that spot. So watch out for Miami now that everybody's kind of getting healthy. At 18, the Indianapolis Colts, another team in that mix for the playoff spot. We've got to figure some things out. Great week by Anthony Richardson after the tap out and everybody making fun of him for tapping out and leaving out of the game. He got benched for a couple games, but he come back strong in this last one against the Jets. They found a way to win that one 28-27. A big game for him. He needed that after everything that went down. So shout out to the Colts. Shout out to Anthony Richardson. But we'll see if that's going to be enough to help this team maybe get into the playoffs. At 17, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers lost a heartbreaker to the Seahawks. The Seahawks, this NFC West is tight. Like right now, the Cardinals lead the division. They're 12th on our power rankings right now. They lead this division by 1 game. But they have also beat, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they beat the Rams. Yes, they beat the Rams. They beat I think they beat the Seahawks. I think they beat everybody in the division. So they've kind of got essentially a 2-game lead, I think. And if I'm wrong about that, y'all yell at me later. But it's a tight race. They got the 3 other teams are right behind them. They're in the mix. And as you can see, they're all three in some type of order here on mine. San Francisco being at 17, the Seahawks being at 16 after their win over the 49ers, and then the Rams are in the 15th slot. They got their win against the Patriots. And it's just tight in the NFC West. So watch out. It's going to be a dogfight in the NFC West. So 17 49ers, 16 the Seattle Seahawks after their win, and then the Rams with their 28-22 victory over the Seahawks. At 14, we've got the Atlanta Falcons. Probably don't even deserve it. Oh, they got smacked by the number 13 team on this power ranking, the Denver Broncos. It was not pretty. It was not pretty at all. 38-6. Bo Nix is cooking, y'all. He is cooking. Now, I want to say this about Bo Nix. People have, pretty much given the Rookie of the Year to Jaden Daniels easily. Like, this all Jaden Daniels is his to lose. Here's the deal. Bo Nix is balling. And don't be surprised by season's end if Bo Nix is the Rookie of the Year. It's really between those two right now. It's between Nix and it's between Daniels. And Daniels had a last couple of weeks have been rough for him while Nix is cooking. So watch out. That race is a little bit tighter than I think people think. Bo Nix is playing well in Denver, and he has them in the playoffs as well. Both teams are the 7th seed right now. So we'll see. We'll see. At 12, the Arizona Cardinals leading that division. They were on a bye last week, so not too much going on in Arizona. But they are number 12. At 11, the Washington Commanders. Washington's got to find a way to get out of that rut that they've been in the last 2 games. 2 tough games where they battled. It just didn't end the way they wanted. They had the lead in both games, and they weren't able to hold on. They were beating Pittsburgh, had it in hand, couldn't pull it off. They were beating the Eagles, had it in hand. Then Saquon Barkley does what he does every single time he plays the Commanders. He scores touchdowns. Every single Commanders Saquon Barkley game that I've been to, Barkley scored at least 1 touchdown. And in many of those games, he scored 2. I think he scored 2 in the game I had last year in New York or in Jersey. He scored 2 in this game in the Philly one. He scored 2 in the very first game that I saw him do. He's going to score. That's just what he does against the Commanders. It's unfortunate for the Commanders. They still have to play him one more time this year in Washington, December 22nd, right before Christmas. So, oh, boy. But the outside looking in, it's a tight race. There are everybody in that outside looking in are looking like they're playoff hungry. They can get into the playoffs, so watch out. At 20, of course, we got the Bucks. Then we got the Dolphins, the Colts, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Falcons, Broncos, Cardinals, and then the Washington Commanders at the top of the outside looking in, hoping to get back into the top 10 this week. We'll see if they can make that happen. Boy, that outside looking in is tight. It's tight, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and get into the top 10 and see if there's a new number 1. Well, here's the answer to your question. As you can see, for those who are watching this visually, there is a new number 1. But as for those who are listening to audio, let's keep it rolling. And number 10, the Houston Texans. A little bit of a shaky year. Some injuries have kind of derailed them in certain points, but they're still the Texans. They're still playing pretty solid football. They're 7-4. They're leading the division, and it's not crazy close. With certain teams looking not too hot. I mean, Jaguars are absolutely terrible. The Colts are in the mix. They're battling. They're still and the Titans are out of it. So it's really just the Colts that are on their heels. So as long as they can keep separation there, they should be good. They should at least win that division. At 9, the Baltimore Ravens. Tough loss to the number 5 seed or number 5 ranked team on here, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's I don't know what it is, but the Steelers have beaten the Ravens 8 out of their last 9. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize 8 out of their last 9 Pittsburgh has had Baltimore's number. I would have, without looking at it, I would have said, oh, it's probably 5-4, 4-5, 4-6, 4-3, something like that. But I would have never thought 8 out of their last 9. So Baltimore's got to figure that thing out. And right now, Pittsburgh essentially has a 3-game lead over Baltimore and sitting comfortably. So watch out. Baltimore, you got to figure it out this week. Tough one against the number 8 seed. I keep saying seed, but number 8 ranked team, the San Diego Chargers, a.k.a. the LA Chargers. that's the battle of Harbaugh this week. That's going to be a Monday night game. It should be a fun one, but that's not going to be an easy game for Baltimore. They got to be careful. They could drop to 7-5 if they come to play. And who knows John Harbaugh better than anybody? Well, Jim Harbaugh. So we got that matchup this week. That's going to be fun. Chargers are at 8. And we talked about what they were able to do against the Bengals, winning that one 34-27 in the final moments after a J.K. Dobbins run for his life touchdown, where they were able to get the win. The Chargers are exceeding expectations. And if the Chiefs are not careful, the Chargers could sneak and win this division. Watch out for the Chargers. I mean, it's about a 2-game lead now, but you never know with plenty of games left. At 7, the Green Bay Packers, 7-3 on the season. They finally get their first win in the North against the Bears, but they got a tough one this week. They got San Francisco. There's a monkey on that back that they've got to try to find a way to get a win. But they're at home for this one. But they moved to 7-3, and they're a team that is young and needs to figure. There's a lot of things they got to figure out. I can go on and on about what Green Bay needs to do, but they just got to get there at some point. They're 7. At 6, the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings getting their win over the Titans, 23-13. It wasn't pretty, but they got the dub. They're still in really good shape right now in the NFC. At number 5, the Steelers. We talked about their win over the Ravens. They continue to do good things. Russell Wilson is undefeated since he has taken over as the starting quarterback. He's 4-0, and they're rolling right along in Pittsburgh. And number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. Saquon Barkley and the crew killing it. You know, it was a little rocky in the beginning. Saquon Barkley's having an amazing season. They couldn't really pull away from the Commanders until late when the defense got tired. And being there in person, you could see like the Commanders had a shot. Maybe some mistakes they shouldn't have made in that game. Like they probably should have kicked the field goal. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but I think it definitely was a momentum changer. But it helped the Eagles go on and get the win. They end up winning 26-18 over the Commanders, pushing the Commanders out of the top 10 for the first time in a couple of weeks. At number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. For the first time this season, the Kansas City Chiefs are not the number 1 team on this power ranking. And a loss to the number 2 team on this power ranking, the Buffalo Bills, made that happen. Buffalo winning that game 30-21. Josh Allen, creeping on up in the MVP race and trying to, wield this Buffalo Bills team and to put them in a really good spot. It was a big game for both teams because if these 2 teams are tied, that's the difference maker on who is the, higher seed. So big win for Buffalo. And as they inch closer to trying to become that, number 1 team in the AFC. And then last but not least, the new number 1 team in the power rankings this week, the Detroit Lions. It is well-deserved. The Lions are absolutely dangerous. They are the most complete team in football. And that's not trying to be funny or fake. They are the most complete team in football. Watch out for the Detroit Lions. All right, here it is. Top 10. Texans, Ravens, Chargers, Packers, Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Colts, I would say Colts, Chiefs, Bills, and the Detroit Lions. So there it is, our power rankings for Week 12, all locked and loaded as we head into Week 12. Now let's go ahead and finish this thing up, ladies and gentlemen, with the finale. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing rocking with the Kings of the Gridiron. Here they are.
Let's get ready to rumble. Who want war in the ring? Who want war with the king? Bring all the balls you can bring. It ain't gonna cost you a thing. You ain't bring the sauce to the ring. You must send the sauce in the ring.
Hey, everybody. It's your man, Darrell Owens. We're back for another edition of Kings of the Gridiron. This one for Week 11 of the NFL season. We're chugging along in the season. Got a couple of weeks left. We got like 7 weeks before we hit the playoffs. But it's time to talk about our Kings of the Gridiron for Week 11. And we start off on the offensive side. Our offensive side, King of the Gridiron, Mr. Jared Goff. What another great day by Jared Goff. This is his second time winning the King of the Gridiron this season, tied with Lamar Jackson for the most this season with 2. But 24 for 29, 412 yards passing, 4 touchdowns with a perfect QBR rating of 158.3 and a 52-6 win over Jacksonville. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. The Detroit Lions are for real, if you don't know that by now. And then on top of that, the Detroit Lions are by far the most balanced team in football, and that includes the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like the sky's the limit for this Detroit team, and if anybody is got this clear path to the Super Bowl, it has to be the Lions, right? But I guess we'll see. Jared Goff, he is the king of the gridiron on the offensive side of the ball for Week 11. Then we head to the defensive side of the ball. This young man grabs his second all-time king of the gridiron, and that's Mr. Darrell Bernard for the Buffalo Bills. Bernard had 8 tackles on the day. He had 1 sack, and he had an interception. That interception would clinch this game for Buffalo as they won 30-21 over the last undefeated team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. But this was a big win for Buffalo. And even though they've kind of had their number during the regular season, Buffalo still wants to be able to do this in the postseason. And the question is, will they be able to do that this year? We will find out. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, our kings of the gridiron for Week 11 of the NFL season. On the offensive side, Jared Goff, 24 for 29, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns, 158.3 QBR rating, and a 52-6 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Darrell Bernard, 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, and a 31-21 victory over Kansas City. Those are our kings of the gridiron for Week 11. We'll see you next week for our Week 12 Kings of the Gridiron. All right, so shout out to our Kings of the Gridiron for Week 11, Jared Goff and Darrell Bernard doing their thing. Bernard getting his second overall King of the Gridiron, and then Jared Goff with number 3. He's one behind our all-time leader, Mr. Lamar Jackson. And now let's head to our top 5 MVP candidates. Goff and the top for me right now. Allen is right behind him on his heels. Then you got Jackson, Henry, and Barkley. Barkley has been really playing good football right now. Him and Henry are the only 2 running backs that have 1,000 yards already on the season. And we're talking about they're looking at having high numbers by the end of the season. I mean, I don't know. Maybe one of them gets to the 2,000 mark. We shall see. If the playoffs started today in the AFC, the Chiefs would still be the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed would be the Buffalo Bills, and they would take on the 7th seed Denver Broncos. The number 3 seed, Pittsburgh Steelers would take on the number 6 seed Baltimore Ravens. More Baltimore-Pittsburgh action? Yeah, I think people would love that. And number 4 seed, the Houston Texans would take on the number 5 seed, the San Diego Chargers. That's right. I'm going to call them San Diego because that's who they are in my heart. And then in the NFC side of things, the Detroit Lions, the number 1 seed easily. The number 2 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles would take on the number 7 seed Washington Commanders. We already seen that matchup once this year. The number 3 seed Atlanta Falcons, who are barely holding on to the spot, would take on the number 6 seed Green Bay Packers. The number 4 seed Arizona Cardinals would take on the number 5 seed Minnesota Vikings. But we'll see how it all goes. We're still early or midway. We still got a lot of time. We got about 6 weeks to figure this thing out. Your boy had a great week in the pick'ems last week. 10-4, 98-68 overall. It's a 30-game advantage. Trying to get into the playoffs. I'm about 2 games out of the playoffs. Victor's ahead of me. I gotta catch him. Our experts of the week in the Pick'em League, leading it overall, Mr. Jay Quimby, 12-2 on the week. He has had a really good season where it started always in the middle of the pack, and he's just been on fire lately. Now he is the overall leader in the All-Star division. Katie, who started off as the All-Star division leader at the beginning of the season, she's 10-4. Cody, 10-4, who's second in the Legends division, and your boy, 10-4 as well. Just trying to get caught up. That's it. As you can see, Jay's leading the way with Russ right behind, 2 games behind him in the All-Star division. And then James has a 3-game lead over Cody as we continue to battle along. Now, for tonight, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this one 26-15 over the Browns. I think it'll be competitive because it is a division matchup, and it may pull away a little bit late. But I like Pittsburgh to move to 9-2 on the season. And people, can we stop playing around on Mike Tomlin? Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in NFL history, and I don't care what anybody says. Never had a losing season, and all I hear is about Pittsburgh fans wanting him out. Not all of them, but there's a nice chunk that say, he got to go. Y'all are tripping. That's all I got to say about that for those fans. All right, so my winners for Week 12, Steelers, Commanders, Packers, Bucks, Chiefs, Dolphins, Texans, Lions, Vikings, Broncos, Seahawks, Rams, and the Baltimore Ravens, which I got a strong feeling the Chargers might pull that one off, but we shall see. All right, everybody, that is it. This has been episode 149 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and, of course, airing on the amazing Bowie TV. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy football this weekend. And, you know, as a high school, college, just enjoy some football this weekend. And we thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back a little early. We'll be back early next week. I think our show will be at 11 o'clock on Thursday, right before Thanksgiving gets going. Then we got 3 Thanksgiving games next week, so we want to make sure we get you in before that time frame. So that's where it'll air live, and then it'll air a little bit later on Bowie Television. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. We truly appreciate you. This has been episode 149 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and, of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. Until next time.
One. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.